Hi, I'm Aimee Delach. I'm Senior Policy Analyst for Climate Adaptation in the Landscape Conservation Department here at Defenders of Wildlife. And you can tell it's a big day because I am dressed up. I am presenting testimony to the House Natural Resources Subcommittee on Water, Oceans, and Wildlife. And they are doing a legislative hearing about 9 or 10 different bills, and the one that I'm really excited about today is the Safeguarding America's Future and the Environment Act, which would take some really big steps to protecting wildlife from the effects of global warming. So there is an international global scientific consensus that we are in the middle of the 6th mass extinction. We are losing biodiversity at an alarming rate, and one of the major drivers of that is climate change. It's threatening species like honey creepers in Hawaii, pika on the mountains of Colorado, and coral reefs, coastal ecosystems. Really very few parts of the earth are immune from the effects of climate change and their impacts to wildlife. So the SAFE Act would help by essentially codifying planning and action for wildlife and habitat adaptation to climate change. This is my first time presenting testimony, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I think I'm pretty well prepared, so we'll see how it goes.
The Subcommittee on Water, Oceans, and Wildlife will now come to order. Subcommittee's meeting today to hear testimony on a number of wildlife-related bills. These are bills that focus on solutions for wildlife conservation and ensure that we protect biodiversity, which is so critical for healthy ecosystems and communities. It's not an exaggeration to say that the loss of biodiversity right now is an urgent crisis.
Climate change is not a worry for some distant future or a threat only to species found halfway around the world. Climate change is here, it is happening now, and it is already threatening species across the country. To avoid the worst of these impacts to biodiversity, we must both mitigate climate change by reducing our emissions and support natural systems to adapt to current and future effects of warming. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on the SAFE Act and these bills, and thank you for the subcommittee's important ongoing work.
Thank you, Ms. Delach.
I think the testimony went pretty well. I got my message out supporting the SAFE Act. Members seemed really responsive, and the sponsor, Representative Cartwright, was there and thanked Defenders and me for our support, so that was a great message to hear. Chairman Huffman seemed to be very supportive of the bill as well, and I didn't get any hard questions, so I think it went quite well.